What is up, RotoGrinders? You got an hour of nonstop NBA DFS conversations taking all the way up the lock tonight. It is crunch time. Myself, two of the OGs, Notorious, Beer Makers fan. Hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on those notifications, do all those things, hit all those buttons. Get us excited. Join the conversation. We'll answer your questions later on in the show. Questions are prioritized in the Discord channel. It's rotogrinders.com/Discord. The live stream chat channel. Those questions will be answered first. And time allotted, we'll knock out as many questions as possible in the YouTube. We didn't discuss this. We typically go game by game. I think we can do this with 5 games just to be a little bit more efficient with our words. And then we'll circle back and we'll go position by position, kind of give them the best of both worlds. You know, a little bit of Grinders Live, a little bit of crunch time. I think we have plenty of time. 5-gamer. Just got the news that Caleb Martin is now doubtful. It doesn't sound like an important thing, but it is. Because now there's 9 bodies in Dallas. Dallas is the only team that is on the back half of a back-to-back. You know, 2 teams full-on tankathon. They're still favored because they're facing the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies are certifiably horrific, and everybody plays between like 20 and 26 minutes on Memphis. So that's going to be a lot of fun to break down. And you know what? Reinforcements. Taj Gibson, 40-year-old Taj Gibson. Wow. He signed a 2-year contract. They gave him 2 years. What are we?
I didn't even know he was still alive, let alone floating around the NBA.
Memphis signed him? Interesting.
Memphis signed, they signed Taj Gibson because they have no setters. They have no bigs.
What happened to Lovering? Bring him back.
You know, he was playing too good was the problem. He actually went out there and played well. Like, we got to get this guy off the court.
I thought Taj was only in the league because Tibbs was still, coaching, but hey, he's back.
So they need bigs. I get that, but a 2-year deal? Like, could it not be a 10-day, a rest of the season? Like, no, let's lock him up for 2 years.
Imagine being his being his representative and saying, I demand a 2nd year, otherwise Taj is a no for Taj. But he's got a great agent, negotiated a 2nd year.
That's so.
Hey, you just got to see what you have in 41-year-old Taj Gibson. I understand what Memphis is doing. Maybe he's a good locker room presence. I assume he's playing tonight. I haven't seen official word, but he's officially signed, and I assume he's available. We shall see. Maybe he starts. Why not? Because there's no bigs in this team. OMP is the presumed starting 5 right now. We don't know about James Harden. That's kind of a bigger deal. James Harden is officially questionable. Now, that is the first game of the ESPN doubleheader. It's at 7 o'clock on the East Coast, so we will know. We will know, if not right now, soon enough. There was a report that he was struggling. I guess his coach said, Atkinson said he was struggling dribbling. He's got that thumb. And there was the report that I think it was Shams said he's going to play through it. He didn't play through it game 1. And so either he's going to play through it and, not get surgery starting tonight, or maybe eventually they're going to shut up. I don't know. Who knows? But if that report is accurate, I guess he's going to start playing and play through it. But we'll know. We'll know at some point. And then Jamal Murray, he's still questionable, right? He was ill last game. He wasn't feeling good. He tapped out. He had the fish. He's still questionable, right, boys? Yeah, that has not changed. I've not seen an update on that. That's super important. That is the last game of the night. We have SGA. SGA is back. He's back in our lives for the Thunder. I believe that's the back half of the ESPN doubleheader. That would make sense. It is. All right. We'll go game by game here in a second. Beer, you want to say anything like as far as the slate overall? It's kind of big decision point Joker. If you want Joker and you just kind of surround it with the nonsense that is Memphis and Dallas, that's kind of how you're building lineups tonight. You can get 3 and 3 if you want. We'll see, but we'll talk about it because everybody's pretty cheap in that game. How do you see the slate? Big picture. What are you waiting for news-wise?
I mean, we'll get to the slate, but first off, shout out to Pete Weber behind you, absolute legend. If you don't know who he is, go educate yourself. And Dean, is it cold in Florida today?
I need a haircut. My hair's bad.
It's like that was the selection of all the hats. Like, winter beanie.
I got a Pick 6, the Pick 6 show hat. I have that. I considered wearing that, but UCF beat BYU, so we got to celebrate that. It's a big week for UCF, cementing that. I assume they're going to be in the March Madness. I think that's going to happen. I presume that's going to happen. So take that, Cougars. We got to rock the UCF beanie.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, you got 2 guys living in cold weather climates, and the guy in Florida is rocking the beanie. So
it's in the 70s, like maybe the 80s.
Was up there. Slate-wise, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. We're waiting on Harden. Obviously, big news. SGA, Jokic. That showdown should be fun. a little late night hammer there. And then you have the mess that's Memphis and Dallas. I mean, that game obviously appealing. The names may be ugly, but we're talking a close spread, a total at almost 240. And then two games that don't have a lot of appeal. I mean, Boston, 17.5-point favorites, totals under 210 in that one. And the Knicks and Milwaukee, a 219 total. So it's a 5-gamer, but let's be honest, it's really a 3-gamer if you want to break it down. Of course, there's pieces you can pull out of those games, but for the most part, a lot of people are going to be congregating around the same 3 games.
No, anything you want to add as far as how you're seeing the slate? If you sort of pan out, I know you talked about it today in the survey. I think you actually wrote, if I'm not mistaken, things change, of course. The slate is fluid. You're probably going to lean in on Joker, and you're probably going to, get there and make it work with the assistance of Memphis and Dallas. Is that where we're still at?
Current squad has, Jokic, and then 5 Mavs and 2 Grizzlies. So we'll see
5
if that
Mavs
changes throughout the day. It's going to depend on Harden. But happy Cut Sweat. Happy Friday to those who celebrate. My lineup's not looking so good in terms of the golf streets, but we'll get through it and we'll hit some Showdown lobby. But I'm ready to break down tonight's NBA slate too.
We'll talk about it when we get to Dallas, but they're down to 9. I'm just surprised Middleton's playing. I thought he wasn't going to play. That's the one that's really peculiar. And there's also talk of him getting bought out. And I don't know if they want to give him one last game for the road. I don't know what the story is there. Or maybe he just doesn't want to get bought out and he just wants to hang in Dallas. I'm not really sure.
Memphis will give him a 10-year deal.
Yeah. Yes. Maybe it's a showcase game. And Memphis is going to be like, wow, this Middleton guy, I never heard of him, but we should consider going after him. All right. First game, we'll do our best here. There's only one game at 7 o'clock. It's Cleveland and Detroit. And certainly it matters as far as the status of James Harden. James Harden still officially questionable with his thumb. We do know that Donovan Mitchell, he's out he's got a groin, so he cannot play. He's not playing with his groin tonight. And Dean Wade is doubtful. We're assuming he's out as well. We're getting Mobley back from his rest. As far as Detroit is fully healthy, with the exception of Beef Stew. He's healthy. He's fine. Just he got suspended for the brouhaha with what team was that? What team did he have the kerfuffle with? I'm forgetting.
Hornets.
There you go.
Yeah, I think it was Charlotte.
Diabate. So Detroit is fully healthy. You can certainly spend up on a guy like Cunningham. A way to be a little bit different, I suppose, if you want to pivot away from Joker. There's not a lot of studs in this slate. Cunningham is certainly one. Harden, in the absence of Mitchell, should step up, but who knows, A, if he plays, and B, will he be 100%? Is the thumb going to bother him? There was that note that Atkinson said, calling out his own guy, basically saying Harden was having trouble dribbling. Who knows? Maybe they're playing games. Maybe he'll play. Maybe he won't. Dennis Schroeder would get fired up as the cheapie that would make stuff work if Harden's out. Noto, how are we handling Cleveland and Detroit?
Yeah, so as I mentioned right now, I don't have any of them in my lineups, but it's going to depend on Harden. Dennis Schroeder ended up playing pretty well the other night with Harden and Mitchell out, played 34 minutes, put up 38 fantasy points. We also had Jalen Tyson have a really big game. Beer and I talked him up on Wednesday, I think. So I think those two would become very interesting options if Harden does end up being out. Outside of that, I'm probably not going to target, Jared Allen with Evan Mobley back. And then on Detroit's side, you can always play Cade Cunningham. You can always play Jalen Duren, but I don't know. I prefer Jokic at a spend up, and then I prefer Jokic at center too. So it kind of takes both those guys off the table for me.
We got Schroeder projected if we happen to lose Harden in our if-then 32 minutes, about 30-31 is a median DK and FanDuel, and he would project pretty strong. Beer, how are you seeing the Pistons and the Cavs?
Yeah, I included this one in the 3 better games, but this is definitely third on the list, in my opinion. So, I'm pretty much with Noto. Harden obviously is going to be a big decision point. If he's in, I don't really have a ton of interest. You get him lower owned with the later news and the concern with that thumb, but I just think spending that money elsewhere makes a lot more sense here. So if I'm picking a play, it's easy. It's Cade. It's a way to get different off of some of the other high end, especially Jokic. If you want to differentiate, obviously if Harden's out, Schroeder becomes one of, if not the best value plays on the board. Jalen Tyson's prices come down on DraftKings. He becomes a lot more appealing as well at 5,600. That's pretty much it. I mean, Jared Allen's been on a roll, but you're talking about the second-ranked defense in the NBA here. So it's not an easy matchup here. Harden's out. You get more access to the guys I mentioned, Sam Merrill. Those guys become a lot more interesting. Harden's in, pretty much a stay away for me. And even on the Detroit side, fully healthy, spreading things out. I just don't see any pieces at the price that are popping. The thing you can say is you're not going to get ownership here. If you're looking to differentiate, looking to get different, this is one of the better games on the slate, and you're not going to have a ton of ownership on a lot of these guys. I mean, Cade's going to have ownership. Thurin will have a little bit. Maybe Harden, if he plays, it hits 15, 20%. Outside of that, you're talking sub 10, sub 5% on a lot of these guys. So just not a super interesting game. You're digging super deep if Harden's out. Does Porter get more run? Sure. It's just overall a really unappealing game.
Yeah, I think if we lose Harden, he should at least be in your GPP pool for like the lottery stuff. Porter, that is. He can get some burn. We saw Schroeder outplay him last game, but certainly that could flip. Or, Porter's also distinctly cheaper, like 1.5K less. Don't mind him as a punt. We can move on to the 7:30 game, which is probably the worst game on the board. If we're power ranking, probably number 5 out of 5. You guys tell me otherwise. 207.5 total. That tells you a lot. And most of those points are going to Boston. Boston is a massive 17-point favorite, a team total of 95 for Brooklyn. Both these teams in the midst of 3-4. Brooklyn, I think this is their third game in 4 nights and the back half of a back-to-back and travel. That's the old triple whammy. Surprisingly, somewhat, nobody's resting, right? They're just going to play their guys. Maybe they'll rest in the fourth quarter when the game's over. As far as Boston, they have a perfectly healthy roster. So both these teams, fully healthy, fully expecting a blowout, and not a lot of points expected here. Beer, how do you feel about Boston and Brooklyn? On paper, this looks pretty bad.
Oh yeah, I feel nauseous about it. If you really want to know, but not a lot here. Jaylen Brown again in the conversation with Cade, the studs to get different. You're definitely going to have the salary to get your studs. So you play Jaylen Brown, you either hope the game is close or he just destroys it in 3 quarters. Those are the two options. I don't see any scenario the Nets come in here and win. So a differentiator. The other angle you could play is the blowout angle. If it is going to be a blowout, who's going to get the run? Some of the cheaper guys, the Danny Wolfs on the Brooklyn side, Shireman, Hauser, guys like that are going to have very, very little ownership. And if it does blow out, you're going to be pretty happy with some of those names. So those are the names that stood out to me in that particular kind of build. That would take me building, 10, 15, 20 lineups to land on something like that. It's not a single entry, not a 3 max type of build, but that's how I would attack this game. If you do want to get some access, finding these cheaper pieces and hoping it blows out. Some of these guys get some extra run and really outproduce their projections tonight.
Jim Harden just went bye-bye. He is out. So, okay, we'll circle back on Cleveland, but it's going to look like Dennis Schroeder is going to be a very, very strong play. And I see Keon Ellis is out as well, which seems somewhat meaningful. Yeah, a little bit meaningful as far as, another guard just going bye-bye, another wing going by. And Dean Wade, as anticipated, he was officially doubtful. He's not playing. They did say Schroeder's good to go with his ankle. No, you're making one lineup. You're probably not messing with Brooklyn, Boston at all, but what are your thoughts?
I was going to say, now that the Harden news is out and he's out, this game becomes even less appealing. I'm expecting a blowout. I think everybody's kind of expecting a blowout. I mean, even if Brooklyn keeps the game competitive, there's nobody on their team that I want to play. They're trying to lose. They're going with that deep and balanced rotation. So nothing on Brooklyn for me. You could always talk yourself into Jaylen Brown if you do think the game's going to be competitive. But, I prefer Jokic. And so, now that we got the Cleveland news, I think there's a lot of more interesting plays over there.
Yeah, if you had to pick somebody, if it was a force you to, like maybe you're making 15 lineups, your favorite play on each side, this game would be who? Nets, Boston. You don't really like anything, I get it. But you want to give me a name if you got to pick somebody. I guess Brown is kind of interesting if you get a ceiling game, but the idea again is who knows if he's sticking around for the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'll go Jaylen Brown on DraftKings for Boston. Vucevic is kind of cheap over on FanDuel. He's only $5K. Maybe this is a game where they can get him going. Brooklyn's a really bad rebounding team. So I'd go with those guys on Boston, and then Brooklyn. I mean, honestly, I can't even pick one. So
fair enough. Just pass.
yeah.
And Beer was talking about the possible blowout. It's like guys like Pritchard and Vukovic coming off the bench. Like sometimes it hurts when it's a blowout because they're going to get their run in like the middle of the third quarter or whatever, but they're almost too good for the blowout, and then they're just going to fire up Hugo Gonzalez and Luka Garza and guys like that, and maybe they lose a minute or two. So it's hard to get excited about any of it. Kind of with you guys as well. Let's talk about New York and Milwaukee. It's 218.5 as a total. New York is a 7-point favorite here as far as who's in and who's out. But this is our half-hour leap. So this game's at 8 o'clock. I think every game has a different time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yep.
We go 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, and then 9:30 is the hammer game. Denver, OKC. New York and Milwaukee, 218.5. Another, minuscule total. Another healthy team. New York is super healthy with the exception of Miles McBride. Milwaukee obviously still without Giannis. They're without Alex Antetokounmpo and Taurean Prince, who's been out forever. Doesn't really matter. The role for KPJ has been spectacular. You really got to pay for him, especially on FanDuel. I don't mind the idea of running the two guards at each other as like a way to get away from Joker. You gotta make up those points somewhere. Joker projected, I think, at least 15 points, raw points more than the field. And there's also value plays to make that work. So he's going to be popular. We'll get to him in a second. But Noto, how you feeling about New York and the Bucks?
Yeah, I think this game's a little bit interesting. I do like KPJ. Beer and I talked him up the other night. Nobody's playing him, even though he's been on a tear for 3 weeks now. I think he's had at least 43 fantasy points in 8 of his last 9 games. Put up 48 the other night. I know it's not a great matchup, but they're playing at home, which helps. And he's going to have all the usage. So I don't mind looking at KPJ in tournaments. And then on New York side, I don't love anybody, but I mean, it's a pretty good spot for Karl Anthony Towns. He's always a little bit cheaper on DraftKings, and he's got 50+ fantasy point upside, so I could get there in tournaments. I had some interest in Jose Alvarado before, the Harden news, but I don't think we need to go there now. And then, I got the Anunoby, Hart, Bridges, maybe if you're building 10+ lineups, but I don't think you can get there in single entry.
Alvarado versus Craig Porter. They're both 3-5.
I think Porter has more upside.
I think so too. But if you're making 150 and you're in the top heavy contest, I would still have Alvarado in the pool.
Yeah.
But yeah, not necessarily prioritized. Beer, jump in here. New York, Milwaukee.
Yeah, love KPJ. Just going to continue to play him. Nobody, not say nobody, like he's going to be 1% owned, but he just never seems to be as owned as he should be. Can stuff the stat sheet. Really the only guy that can really help carry this offense. Rollins has been solid, Kuzma in spots, but he's going to have to do so much in this game. So really like that one. And I like the bigs here for New York. Towns and Mitchell Robinson, I think, could be sneaky. You want to get Joker in there, I know, so it makes it tough on FanDuel, but DraftKings where you can utilize a couple different centers, I think he could be super sneaky tonight, low owned, not going to log a ton of minutes, but I don't mind attacking this Milwaukee interior. Also really like Jalen Brunson. Milwaukee has been awful against point guards this season. So, at his price point, this matchup, I think he's an interesting play. I'm not really getting into the Bridges, the Anunobys, the Harts. Milwaukee, you want to go super deep. Jericho Sims has been playing a decent amount of minutes, putting some pretty big numbers on the board. Again, that's running a bunch of lineups, but kind of off the board a little bit with him. But Towns, Brunson, KPJ are my favorites out of this one.
Circling back to Cleveland, man, our Sam Merrill projection is really, really strong. He's currently the most popular player on the lineups I'm just running right now. That is a healthy number here. We're giving him 32 as a median projection on FanDuel. I think 34 on DK. That's really 34. As far as minutes for Cleveland, 33 Tyson, and then 32 Merrill, 32 Allen, 32 Schroeder, 28 Mobley, Porter 23. Man, so assuming this is, I guess that's basically, that seems a little
It's aggressive.
Little aggressive. Projection team does a good job. Who am I to nitpick? It's not my job. But not that he's a bad play, but You a little surprised by that, Noto? That seems like a pretty big projection for him.
It does, especially in this matchup. I mean, he's not a big per minute guy. He averages 0.85 DK per minute, 0.8 FanDuel per minute. So I don't know. Maybe he can get there, but I don't see him catching fire against the Pistons.
Yeah. Beer, just kind of circling back, your thoughts as far as Cleveland. And, we talked about Schroeder being a strong play. How do you feel about Merrill's projection? That might get adjusted. I feel like that's
I get why. They need offense. He's going to get his shots up, but he doesn't offer a lot outside of the scoring generally. And Detroit's been pretty good against the three, which is the name of his game. So, all the things that he does well, we know this defense is legit. So sometimes minutes can overcome that. Minutes are money, as the old saying goes. So he'll be out there a bunch at that price. I can't blame anybody for playing him. I'm going to mix in a little bit as well. It's really a who of Schroeder, Merrill, Porter, Tyson. Probably two of these guys are going to hit. It's figuring out which ones. For me, it's Schroeder and Tyson being my favorites. Merrill would be third on that list.
I'm going to run a Court IQ just out of curiosity. I want to see how much he pops, but certainly he's a good play. It's just I didn't think he'd be that strong of a play. But okay, let's start. Well, I delayed it enough. I don't want to talk about Memphis and Dallas. You guys are more than welcome to do so. We're down to 9, it looks like, on Dallas. Not officially, but I think that we're going to lose. Wait, maybe is it 10? Is my math wrong?
I see 9 in the lineups page.
Okay, you're seeing 9. Yeah, so Bagley's out. He's got that neck. He fell yesterday. Yeah, didn't fall. Somebody banged into it, I think, right? Flag is out. Lively's out. Caleb Martin was the downgrade. Yeah, he got downgraded to doubtful. Klay Thompson, not surprisingly, is resting. PJ Washington, doubtful. I assume he's going to get ruled out any minute now. And Memphis, no Santi Aldama. Kyle Anderson is not with the team anymore. He signed a 10-day someplace else. Coward, he ain't playing. Zach Edey, he was supposed to get reevaluated. I'm guessing he's not playing the rest of the year, and they're just not talking about it. John Morant, who knows? I guess Ty Jerome is officially doubtful, but come on. He ain't playing either. We have 10 that are available to pick, I think, in the pool. But, again, Ty's just not in the pool, and I think he does play tonight. Not that you'd want to play him necessarily. Beer, Grizzlies, Mavericks, Najee Marshall. Here's the thing. Can Dallas even pull shenanigans is the question, because they want to lose. Both these teams want to lose. But they're kind of playing with house money, right? They lost yesterday to the Kings. They thought for sure they're going to accidentally beat the Kings. They beat they lost to the Kings yesterday. So somebody's just got to, swallow it and say, you know what, we're going to have to win. Somebody's got to win. And how do you out tank the Grizz? It's just tough. It's really tough competition. So maybe they just play Marshall 35 minutes and he smashes.
It'll be interesting to watch for sure. Who really wants to lose more? What kind of shenanigans do we get in this game? But it's hard to not love this game, and ownership is showing that. I mean, you're going to see, 40, 50, 60% ownership on a lot of these guys, and it makes sense. So Marshall's the headliner. I want to say he's the most expensive piece in this game at 6,300, which is kind of crazy, but we've seen big games out of him, and all the usage that's going to be left behind is going to flow to him. I really like Brandon Williams, very up and down, but has really shown a nice ceiling. So against this Memphis defense, I think he's an option. Gafford is the one I'm keep debating. No Bagley. He's no Washington. I don't know how many other big bodies they have, but they don't ever want to play him huge minutes. So what does that look like? Do they go smaller? Do they give him, 30 minutes? So he's the one I keep going back and forth on, but really like Najee, really like Brandon Williams. Memphis side, you can make a case for any of these guys. They're all going to get run. Small's been great. He's probably the best value in my opinion. Prosper's one of the last surviving bigs for them until Taj comes in and steals his job, but I still think his role is very safe. Pippen gives you that all-around game that we look for. And G.G. Jackson, a guy I've been playing a ton lately. To me, he's their best offensive player surviving. So this game's going to be stacked every which way. Like Noto said, he's got 4 or 5 Mavericks, Grizzlies. I have lineups with 3 and 3, 4 and 3. So it's trying to find ways to get different out of this game. There's not a lot of ways to differentiate that you love. AJ Johnson at minimum price, Miles Kelly. These are the kind of guys that you're going to not be comfortable with, but it's a way to get access to this game. Chris Middleton shouldn't be too highly owned, so he can fit in that bucket as well. But you want exposure. Everyone's going to want exposure here. So those are a few ways to get a little bit different.
Middleton's the one that projects well that I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of him. Yeah. I'm
33.
very afraid. What's that?
33 minutes last night.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't believe he's going to play. I understand why he's projected where he's projected, and he's played sat down in a lot of back half of back-to-backs. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes bye-bye. You mentioned Beer as far as Gafford. He's the most injury-prone guy. Like, he's always going to the locker room, and they have two other bigs. I'm not saying they're good, but they have Musa Cisse, they have Dwight Powell, and Memphis has nobody big. So, like, you could go small this game very easily. So there's reasons why. I agree the push-pull on Gafford as well. Like, he projects well, but there's reasons why he would lose minutes. Noto, jump in here. What do you got?
Yeah, so I was going to say we have nine guys for Dallas on the lineups page, but Cisse is not on there at the moment. So he's still questionable. So he could end up being active. They could have 10 guys. But, yeah, I like Brandon Williams. I like Najee Marshall. Like Beer mentioned, I think they're both excellent plays. They should have a ton of minutes, ton of usage. I like Max Christie as well. I think he's going to play more than Middleton. So those three would probably be my favorite, and then I'll keep an eye on Cisse. If he's out, I'll feel a little bit better about Gafford at 4.4K. And then Memphis, it's just you just play whoever. I don't know. Like, everyone's going to get between 20 and 26 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I like Hendricks. I like Javon Small. Small's probably been playing the best of anybody for Memphis. I like Prosper a little bit. So, I don't know. It's kind of just whatever you need from your roster construction, whatever price point or position you're looking for, you can kind of just plug in somebody from Memphis.
They have a couple guys that are two-way. Like, Prosper's one of them that he only has 10 games left to play unless they give him a contract, which who knows if they convert him or not. Is Meshack and Rupert, I think those guys might be vulnerable to it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but just make sure that they're available to play. I would imagine they give OMP to start against his former team. You'd think so. But, yeah, it's a big old mess. And then we joke about Taj Gibson, but he does take minutes away from somebody.
You will.
I think he might. I think he's going to.
I do too. I think they're going to play him.
Is he in the projections?
Well, he's not in the pool, so they can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they count the 240 or not. I'm not sure if they accounted for it or not, but yeah, there's no way to. He has no salary.
Yeah.
But he could play 15, 20 minutes tonight. Well, if you play for Memphis, you get at least 19, right? 19 guaranteed. I think that's the move.
Yep.
No more than 26 or 27. Okay, let's talk about Denver and OKC. Some studs in this game, of course. 233.5 is the total of the arrival. We have not seen SGA in a while. 1-2 in MVP. Joker versus SGA. The Thunder are 9-point favorites here at home. Carlson's out. Doesn't really matter. AJ Mitchell is out, and the good Jalen Williams is out. As far as Denver, we saw Jamal Murray. He had the fish, and he was really ill last game. He had to tap out. He's still officially questionable. Pickett is questionable. Strather is probable. Spencer Jones is questionable. Doesn't really matter. We still have Aaron Gordon out and Peyton Watson. Those guys are important. All right. Noto, Denver, OKC. We got studs. We have salary savers, so I guess we're just going to play Joker, and that's that?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a competitive game. OKC is favored by 8.5, but I think Denver's going to keep it close. Jokic has been solid all season. We can make a little case for the MVP tonight with the big game against SGA. So he's my favorite spend up for sure. Outside of that, you also have some built-in equity if Jamal Murray ends up being out. So we'll probably not have that news until later anyway. That's really it for me on Denver's side. And then OKC, it kind of feels like everyone's priced up as if SGA is still out. And so it's tough to, play Casey Wallace as 6'7", or Wiggins or Holmgren at 8'6", Hardenstein at 6'4". Like, it feels like these guys are priced up a little bit. So I don't love anybody on OKC, and SGA ceiling minutes, maybe 30, 32. Like, I don't know if I want to pay 10-7 for him if he's not going to get full complement of minutes. It's the first time he's played in 24 days. So I don't know. I don't feel great about anybody outside of Jokic, but I do feel great about him.
We're giving him 30. Yeah, he probably does. He's probably not full, I do think you get him. It's kind of built in on FanDuel. 10-2 is a pretty good price. SGA is like never cheaper than 10-2, so I think that's a better spot to play him. I think and it's not that hard to pair SGA and Joker and just surround it with the nonsense that is Memphis and Dallas. I'm probably not the only one that has that idea, but it's definitely something you can do and throw in a Dennis Schroeder. By the way, shout out to the projection team. I guess it was I think they forgot to carry the one or something happened there with the rates of Sam Merrill, but we did spot that. His projection is no longer what it was before. We're now looking at 23.4 as a median projection on DK. So
that sounds more in line with what I thought it would be.
Yeah, that kind of jumped out, and I was like, that does not still 32 minutes, but not the best fantasy point minute player. 21-ish on FanDuel is a median score. What do you got here as far as Denver and the Thunder?
Yeah, I mean, Jokic becomes very easy to play at 12-3, which you can't say very often. A lot of times it's tough trying to fit him in, finding enough value, and we're just, swimming in value tonight between Memphis, Dallas, and Cleveland. So it's really going to jack his ownership up higher than I think even what we're showing now. I think that's going to be a default lineup for people is, grab all the Memphis, Dallas pieces, Jokic, Schroeder, and then whatever else fits. So, but he's an awesome play. I mean, the projections are off the page. Like you said, he can still make a run at MVP. So really like him. No issues with that one. Murray's interesting. I don't want to play him, but if he's out, that's going to open a lot of things up. Christian Brown, I think, would really benefit in that scenario. Bruce Brown, Tim Hardaway, those guys would all become very intriguing value plays if Murray's out. So late news, late swap, you're really going to have to pay attention to that. I think that could be a key to the slate tonight is what happens with Jamal Murray. So other side, I agree with Noto completely. I'm trying to find pieces that I want to play, but all the prices are out of whack. Do I want to pay, $8,600 for Chet Holmgren? Not really. Shea, I think he plays right around 30 minutes. That could be enough to get you there, but is it enough for him to really give you a ceiling game? And I think you're going to get that baked in ownership. Not a lot of people are going to be comfortable playing him. So if you want to risk it, you think you get more than that, or he just goes absolutely ham in the 30 minutes that he's going to play. It's a very intriguing tournament pivot for sure. We know the upside is as high as anybody. So, but that's pretty much it for me. The Nuggets value pieces, again, if Murray is out, I think are very, very intriguing, especially the guards.
Yeah, we know the deal with whenever you get the star back, like SGA, everybody else's price got pumped up in the last, in his absence, and they were getting more usage, and now that he's back, they're all overpriced basically. So it's really hard to like anybody on the Thunder for the reasons you kind of laid out. I was looking at the if-then stuff, and nobody really pops here, Beer, but Bruce Brown is a positive value on FanDuel and a close to a positive value on DK, around 24 DK, 25 FanDuel is a projection. Are you leaving the light on, though, for Bruce Brown? Like, I don't know if you build in the hopes. Murray probably plays, too. He was sick. He's, like, always a gamer. I don't know. I don't know if I leave the light on for – there's nobody that really, sure. A slight bump to – Brown's going to get a bump. Both Brown, right? Christian Brown, yeah. Bruce Brown. But is there anybody you absolutely need, like, that's going to, like, completely change your lineup process? I don't know.
I think it's more of a you want to get different. I mean, if I'm just looking at it and ranking them, they're behind, the Memphis, Dallas, Cleveland value, no doubt. Nobody really gets a huge bump if Murray were to be out. But if you want to get different, you want some lower ownership, that's the selling point for these guys, especially if you see some of the chalk early busted and, so you get a little bit different late with some lower ownership. Is certainly where you can go. So I'm not leaving the light on, but they are good differentiators off of some of the chalk that we have.
Cleveland starting lineup: Schroeder, Merrill, Tyson, Mobley, Allen. No surprise there. That tips off, or at least locks, in about 25 minutes or so. We're going to go position by position now. We're going to do it crunch time style. We'll be efficient about it. Noto, give me your favorite point guards. Do we want to include FanDuel and DK together in like one big conversation? You can kind of isolate it. Or you want to
more time for questions?
Say it again, Ben. What do you prefer?
I think we can lump it together. There's generally not huge differences between them, but we can certainly mention them.
Okay, so that's what we can do. We'll have one big conversation, lead with DK, and then follow up anything different as far as FanDuel. Noto, you're going to start us off as far as your favorite plays when it comes to point guards.
All right, so yeah, now that Harden's out, Mitchell's out, Ellis is out, I think Dennis Schroeder, one of my favorite plays on the board, played well in his spot start the other night. It's not a good matchup against the Pistons, but he's 5-1 on DraftKings. He's 5 flat on FanDuel. I like Brandon Williams. We've been wanting him to play more and more minutes all season. This has got to be the time where he plays, 28 to 32 minutes. We have projected for 31, which he hasn't hit that mark in as long as his game log goes. But I think he'll get there tonight, so I like him quite a bit. Javon Small is probably my favorite player from Memphis. He's shown quite a bit of upside, and his minutes have been pretty steady, 25 or more in 4 straight games. Steady for relative to Memphis's rotation anyway.
More than 27, though? I'm not looking at it. You say 25 or more. Is it 25, 26, and that's it?
25, 25, 27, 29.
29. What happened there? Somebody was slipping.
So we got something a little bit more upside. That's probably it for me in my small field stuff, although I love Kevin Porter Jr. I think he's one of the better tournament plays on the board.
Beer, not just point guard, but shooting guards, and feel free to break off. Give me something specific on FanDuel that stands out as distinctly different, but I want all the guards.
Oh, no, don't nail a lot of the value, especially at the point guard position. Schroeder, I think, is the top play at 5,100. I really like Brandon Williams and Javon Small are the 3 best options, in my opinion. So I don't mind the spend ups as well. Cade will draw some ownership just because we have the salary, but specifically KPJ and Jalen Brunson, I think, are excellent tournament plays tonight. Shooting guards, a lot of carryover from the point guard position on DraftKings. Sam Merrill, yes, more interesting, but he could be super highly owned tonight. And that one makes me a little nervous on him. So Max Christie, we brought up in the Dallas-Memphis game. I think he's interesting. Jaylen Brown is a pay up to be contrarian as well. Hopefully you don't get a blowout, or hopefully he goes ham against that Brooklyn team. But I'm going to be jamming in a lot of point guards tonight with shooting guard being so ugly.
I see Chris in chat talking about Small. Yeah, I think you already answered this, Noto, but asking how many minutes he's getting. We're projecting 27 to lead Memphis with 27 minutes tonight. All right, Noto, give me your favorite plays at shooting guard, and then jump over to small forward. And again, if you know something different as far as salary, as far as construction on FanDuel, let the people know.
Yeah, we also have chat saying Tyus Jones revenge game. A little bit interesting. 3-2 tonight. I mean, he could get 25 minutes.
What happened to him? He was like one of the best backup point guards in the league, and I think he kind of stinks now.
Yeah, he does. Ty Jerome stole his talent and his name. But shooting guard, so you got some carryover here. You got Dennis Schroeder on FanDuel. And then on DraftKings, you have Brandon Williams and Javon Small. I really like Max Christie. The minutes are going to be there. He takes a lot of threes. I think he's safer, in my opinion, than Chris Middleton tonight if you want to get exposure to those Dallas wings. Then you have KPJ here too. Now that Sam Merrill, isn't projecting for a ton of ownership, maybe he's a little bit more interesting, but I still don't love the matchup for him. On FanDuel, we have Jalen Tyson, a shooting guard who I love. I think he's going to end up making my main lineup, which I've switched up a bit since the beginning of the show due to the Cleveland news. That's pretty much it for me. Small forward. Again, we have Jalen Tyson. Najee Marshall is probably going to be one of the easiest clicks on the board, coming off of a huge game. The usage rate's been super high, 31, 22, 24, 27 over the last 4 games. I like Taylor Hendricks and Jalen Wells as values on DraftKings. And that's it for me, small forward.
Reminder to load up those questions in the Discord channel. We'll get those once we're done position by position. RotoGrinders.com/Discord live stream chat channel. That's where your questions are prioritized. Then we'll jump to YouTube. I saw something else that was Butto was reminding us this is a Dennis Schroeder revenge game, but dude's played for 10 teams. Does he hate everybody? He actually seems kind of ornery. He seems kind of
he might. How long was he actually with Detroit?
Not long, but a year, maybe 2 years. He's probably still upset that he pass up on a great offer from the Lakers or Boston was going to sign him for a ton of money, and his agent said no, and it went ugly. 12. The chat's telling me 12. Apparently, he's been on 12 teams. So, every other night he's angry.
He's always motivated.
All the forwards, Beer. What do you got?
Najee Marshall, an easy click, especially on DraftKings. This is one of the bigger, pricing differences, and maybe you get a little less ownership on FanDuel, but not a huge discount. But 63 on DraftKings, 72 over on FanDuel, definitely playable on both sites. Really like Jalen Tyson, 5,600. He's even cheaper on FanDuel at 52. You get that shooting guard eligibility on him as well. So those are probably my two favorites at forward here tonight. Other options that we talked about, not a ton here. I'm coming around on Hendricks. I know that's Noto's boy, so he's interesting. The blowout angle with Boston and Brooklyn, if you wanted to play that, but it's really a thin position tonight. So DraftKings, you get Jaylen Brown, you get a little bit more upside there. Again, if you wanted to attack that game, pay the price on him. It's risky, but we know that he has upside. Porter on the other side, if you want to play that. I'm not going there, but you will get low ownership, especially on a Michael Porter Jr. And then Memphis, you can risk it. I've tried to play Jalen Wells. Hasn't really worked out. So that one I'll probably stay away from tonight. Middleton, we talked about being kind of risky. And then we talked to Denver value. Christian Brown's probably my favorite. Cam Johnson, may have to play some minutes as a 4. So that could keep him on the floor a little bit more. So those guys are great values. FanDuel 45 and 4,800.
No, I believe you have power forward and center left, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, that is correct. So I like G.G. Jackson quite a bit. Like, the minutes haven't been there, but he's still been producing at a really high level. Taylor Hendricks and Prosper, if you want to save in that same Memphis game. And then it's pretty ugly, the rest of the options on DraftKings. FanDuel, you have Najee Marshall here, who, again, is an easy click. Even on FanDuel at 7-2, I think he's, the easy cash game guy. Cam Johnson's pretty cheap over on FanDuel as well. We haven't checked it for 33 minutes. Yeah. He's had a lot of dud games this year when he's been playing big minutes, but I don't know. He's at least somewhat interesting off of, as a pivot off of some of the other guys. G.G. Jackson over there at 6'3". And then at center, I'm playing Jokic on both sides, and I might play some Gafford. I don't know. We have such a good projection on him that it's hard to ignore. I don't know. What are you guys doing with Gafford?
I'm still debating, and we got 15 minutes left. I have him in, I pull him out, I put him back in. So I'm leaning towards utilizing him, but certainly, worry about it a little bit.
Like, there are 4 different ways it can go wrong for Gafford, but in theory, if you tell me he's playing 27 minutes, like against whatever is standing against him, like he can get 17 rebounds against his team. Like, that's not a joke. Like, he can just pile up every single rebound if he's out there that long. But locker room, there's 2 other bigs that could jump in there. Cisse, who's still questionable, right? Cisse, we don't know if he's available or not.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, so stay tuned. But in theory, math-wise, he's a really, really strong play. Beer, I need some centers. Speaking of Gafford, what else you got as far as centers?
Jokic, easy. Don't need to spend a lot of time there. I think Allen and Mobley are a lot more interesting here. And I know they'll be worried, who's going to get them the ball, things like that. But they could become the focus of this offense. Allen's been putting a lot of points on the board lately. Mobley, I know it can be frustrating, and this matchup is certainly daunting. But those 2 guys, I think, get a bump. I think they're going to a lot more usage without James Harden out there. So really like that. We just talked about Gafford. Projection is great. Everything lines up. Still makes you a little bit nervous, but he is definitely going to be a big part of my player pool. Prosper, pretty cheap. It's playing power forward or center, so you can utilize him at a couple different positions. I mentioned Karl Anthony Towns. I like him against this Milwaukee interior. And then I gave you Jericho Sims as a way to get different, go cheap, not safe at all, but I think they're going to need his minutes against this front court. So he could be a candidate for 30 minutes at very little ownership.
Beer, Amanda Panda in chat says, are we getting a 6-pack today? I'm guessing we're not going to have one produced and good to go in the next 10 minutes, but can you give me something on the fly? Or not, maybe if the beast of the night can be a plum, who would the beast of the night be?
Beast of the night tonight would have probably been, well, we had so much news. So if we did have a 6-pack today, it probably would have been changed a bunch of times. But I will say Najee Marshall would have been featured prominently in the video.
Noto, see that plum and raise him. Who's your plum?
I'm going to go, I really like KPJ, but he's not making my final lineup. So I'm going to go with Max Christie.
What about the Porter Jr. stack? Stack up all the Porter Juniors tonight. I saw someone in chat say Porter Jr. ? And I'm like, well, which one? I understand KPJ is the better one, but I think Craig is kind of sort of someone interesting. All right. Going to get you your questions here in just a second. I do want to remind the people about NASCAR. NASCAR projections are live for the 2026 season, including projections from RotoDoc and Stevie TPFL if you want to get all technical. You'll get access to articles and videos on RG breaking down every race. The Lineup HQ Optimizer is going to come preloaded with player and ownership projections for trucks, NOA, PS, as well as the Cup Series. Additionally, you'll receive access to Stevie's betting picks, as well as exclusive access to the NASCAR channel in the RotoGrinders Discord. Most of our Discord channels are free. That one's not. You got to pay for that one. You got to pay to get in on the NASCAR action. And also check out rotogrinders.com/picklabs if you're in the player prop streets, things of that sort. Sportsbook, underdog, prize picks, over-unders, things like that. rotogrinders.com/picklabs. Clean board. It's going to help you out. It makes it super easy. It's fully dummy-proof, and that's something I look at every single day. All right, speaking of things I look at every day, looking at the live stream chat channel. Let's see the questions that are being loaded up there. And then we'll jump there to the YouTube as well. But these, of course, are prioritized. Carolina Guy is a specific question for beer. FanDuel tournaments, favorite low-owned spend-up, and also your favorite value. So two-pronged question. Favorite low-owned spend-up and your favorite value play on FanDuel specifically.
I would say KPJ. He's been a favorite on FanDuel. I know he's more expensive over there, which drives his ownership down. There's been a big pricing delta between FanDuel and DraftKings on him now for quite some time. So he would be my favorite spend. Favorite value, it's hard to not like Dennis Schroeder. I also like Brandon Williams, Jalen Tyson. So those are three values for you. We'll try to make up for no 6-pack and give you a little extra.
Discord channel floor is marked. This is for Noto. Can we get the panel's opinion, I guess all of us, on Miles Kelly on Dallas? We haven't projected for 21 minutes, 17% ownership. Yeah, I don't pretend to know a ton about Miles Kelly. Do not think his fantasy points per minute this season, 0.73 is not especially appealing. Now, it's not a ton of minutes. We're based that off of 100 minutes. It's always been out there for. His usage is not exciting either, less than 15%. But Noto, you have a scouting report. You have a take on Miles Kelly. I got nothing.
I don't have much, but he's 3K, and he's a way to get different. That's all I have for you. I mean, he's played, 12 or more minutes in 5 games this season. Hasn't scored more than 19 fantasy points. So I don't think fading him is going to hurt you. But if you really want to build a Stars and Scrubs lineup, I don't think he's terrible.
Beer, anything to add?
No, it's a pricing and ownership play. We're looking for ways to get different, especially in that game. That's the selling point, but very risky. I mean, this guy hasn't shown a ton, not projected for a ton of minutes. So it's a way to get different. That's what you're going after, then go for it.
Jim wants to know about Rupert on DK, Beer. How do you feel about Rupert on DK?
Feel better about him, but kind of in the same boat. I mean, he's going to get minutes because we know everyone's going to play, like we said, between 22 and 26 minutes. So I'd be a little bit more excited about him. But again, we're talking about a fantasy point per minute, right around 0.7. That doesn't get me excited.
D-Rock wants to know, Noto, DK tournaments, are you okay locking in Marshall and Williams in 3-max? He's running 3 lineups in 3-max. Are we okay locking in Marshall and Williams? I feel better locking in Marshall, but I think you can do both. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's risk tolerance is different, but if I'm making 3, I think I'm going with both of them in all 3.
This is for Beer, J-Sam. Oh, no, they're asking for Noto specifically. I like when they dealer's choice. It's fine. They're both here to help you out. No. FanDuel single entry, right? Jay Sam wants to know FanDuel single entry for fading Joker, which is scary. Do you think Duran is the one guy at center who can have similar upside to him?
Let's see if there's even anybody else in the same stratosphere. I actually like Towns more than Duran.
Yeah. Towns.
Yeah, and you don't necessarily. I mean, you can make it up in other spots. Like if you have all of a sudden KPJ and Brunson, and they both put up 50 plus, and Joker puts up 61, which is good, but you could beat. Doesn't necessarily have to be from that position, but with a salary spent, you gotta kind of get there. Okay, Allen's Club, DK tournaments. This is for Beer Brown. This is Christian Brown or Christie.
I mean, I would have Christie now. If Murray's out, it would become Christian Brown.
Yeah, I think I prefer Christie as well, and I still think there's a chance something goofy can happen with Middleton. Just kind of keep an eye on that. I'm not trying to be paranoid about it, but I just don't know why they would play him a ton. Let's see. Chris Longo saying Caruso's only 3.8 on FanDuel, Noto, but I mean, what is his ceiling? How many minutes does Caruso possibly play? And SGA's back. He is cheap, and I guess he can get like 4 or 5 stocks and a couple threes in his 20 minutes. Is he somebody you're curious about?
Not really, but he is one of those guys. He can get you 25 plus any night. The minutes are going to be very up and down, but he can have that ceiling game. I just think there are better values tonight.
And if SGA is not going to play minutes, that play makes a lot more sense.
What do we have as far as minutes for him? I'm going to guess somewhere around 20.
Yeah,
20. Exactly 20.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to jump into the YouTube. I want to see if I scroll up. Steve, let me know if I missed something. Feel free to throw it up on the screen. But I know they're talking about Scream 7, which apparently was a disappointment. I'm sorry to hear that. I watch every one one of the Screams. You make 20 Screams, I'll watch them all.
No, what were we expecting? The originals were good, for sure. But we're on part 7 20 years later. I mean,
yeah. I think Courtney Cox and Nev Campbell are back. I think they're still bringing them back. But I think there was production issues in that movie as well, if I'm not mistaken. But don't want to get in the weeds here with 6 minutes to go until lock. But I do want to answer as many questions as possible. Just having a tricky time finding questions now on the YouTube. Just says QQ Dayron Sharp. Noto, how do you feel about Dayron Sharp tonight?
I mean, I like him as a per minute guy. I just don't like him tonight.
Yeah. All right. And there's just more movie conversation in the YouTube. More movie conversation than actual conversation for basketball. Okay. We got a question here on the board here, Beer. FanDuel tournaments 5,200 or less at utility. Already have 4 Grizz and 2 Mavs and a Joker. You can probably guess the Grizz and Mavs trying to avoid Schroeder due to chalk, but he has upside. Who's your favorite pivot? I guess who's your favorite pivot away from Schroeder, 52 or under in utility?
Probably Scottie Pippen Jr. At 52. I mean, I like Schroeder better, but you're going to eat a lot of ownership there. So Pippen Jr., Bruce Brown would enter the equation if he's able to go. And then you could go with Craig Porter. If you don't think Schroeder's going to do well or play enough minutes, take a shot on Craig Porter. But it would be Scottie Pippen Jr. As the pivot.
Noto D-Bills wants to know Hendricks or Cam Johnson on FanDuel.
I'm going to go Hendricks.
All right. Let's see. Can you rank these 3, Beer? Alan wants to know if you can rank Cade, SGA, KPJ. Who scores the most DK points?
I'd have it in that same order. Cade 1, SGA 2, KPJ 3.
All right. No. Boney's got a question for you. FanDuel single entry. It's a 2v2. KPJ, Brandon Williams versus SGA and Max Christie.
I mean, it's close, but I'm going to go number 2.
Robinson DK tournaments. Look at that. I beat Steve. He's on top of it, though, throwing questions up on the screen. How do we feel about Marcus Robinson? Wait, that's not the right name, right? It's no, Robinson.
I'm like, who the hell are you talking? Mitchell Robinson or Duncan Robinson?
Who's Marcus Robinson?
Those are your Robinsons.
I don't know.
I like the matchup for Mitchell Robinson. It's just a matter of minutes. He never plays a ton, which kind of caps his ceiling. So,
Marcus Robinson played Play for the Bears, it looks like. So I don't know where my brain's at. Thoughts on OG Anunoby? Noto, how do you feel about OG tonight?
If you need a guy at his price point, he's fine, but not on my radar.
Yeah, to me, he's very much like a last man in, basically. Caleb Martin officially ruled out. PJ Washington officially ruled out. Klay Thompson officially ruled out. I saw they were talking in chat, like now I'm getting people paranoid about Middleton. I'm not trying to do that. That's my own paranoia. I'm not trying to spread it. But I just feel like it doesn't make sense. Like he would play a bunch tonight, but for a couple
that
of
whole game is paranoia. I mean,
yeah.
Daniel Gafford, we talked about Middleton. What is Memphis going to do? Do these teams want to win? Like, so
we know
I'm
that's
I'm paranoid about every play in that game. Not going to lie. That yes, they pop. Yes, they're going to have ownership, and we're going to have them in our lineups. But that whole game is paranormal.
But Dallas only has 9 players, and you got to play 5, far as I know. So they got to play somebody. Noto, DK tournaments, Prosper or Hendricks?
Do you have your Mr. What's your thing called? Your guessing machine?
I got Mr. Predicto. Is that what you want to have?
Predicto. There we go. I was going to say Mr. Wonderful, but that didn't sound right.
That's what Mr. Predicto. Okay, so it's got to be a yes or no question. So I'll say, is Prosper? All right, Mr. We got to wake him up too. I wasn't prepared for this, but you never know. It's a battery. Is Prosper a better play than Hendricks tonight?
That is a likely outcome.
There you go.
I agree.
It's like 50-50. You know, he's pretty good. You never really know if he's on his game or not. But that's what the results have been so far at this point. We are at lock, essentially. Seconds to go. Trying to see if there's anything else going on in the chat. I don't think there is. But, Don Yeezy says there's a question in Discord. I did not jump back. Hopefully that game has not started just yet. Are we okay with Gafford and single entry beer? Yeah, we're kind of going back and forth on Gafford, given the pros and cons. How do you feel about Gafford single entry?
Final answer is yes. I'm going to play him and hope for the best. So even in single entry, yeah, he projects so well and should have his way with this interior.
They're giving me the business. My apologies. I did not jump back to Discord. I say they're prioritized. And, well, I think we snuck it in there. I think that was not an early game, so we did have plenty of time to knock that one out. Noto, did you end up with Gafford in your main lineup?
I did.
There's the best question of the night from Hammer. Can we go back to that one?
Is it small? Is it a small beanie?
It looks like a schmedium on your head for sure.
I thought beanies are kind of like one size fits all. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
I thought so too, but
yeah,
not.
Maybe I just have a big head. That's the problem. I didn't factor that in. But I don't think there was a size option when I bought it at the UCF library. All right, that is 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock on the dot on the East Coast. We're stepping aside. We're getting out of here. I assume that's it. Is there anything else that needs to be covered here, Beer? Anything of note?
Nope. We'll obviously keep an eye on that Jamal Murray news, but we appreciate the chat. Great hanging out with you boys, and everybody have a fantastic weekend.
I got one more for the road, Noto. One more. Don't turn your brain off just yet. CW wants to know Gafford and Tyus Jones or Dort and Cisse. Never Dort.
I mean, yeah, never Dort.
Easy answer, especially with SGA back. I didn't want to play Dort when SGA and all those guys were out. I still didn't want to play Lou Dort.
He's the only guy that never benefits. Like his role is it is what it is.
He's a great real life player, a hell of a defender, not somebody you want in your DFS lineups.
That was Beer. That was Noto. That was producer Steve. Hit that like button your way out. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Have an A1 day. We're out of here. Holler!